Right along the way, the relentlessness, it's true advocacy. I think people were afraid to speak up for justice-involved individuals before, because who wants to get behind a criminal, right? With regular people, we want another chance. We have opportunities to start fresh. Just look at us different. Let us in that door.
We have been able to get to the root causes and have a remarkable impact in just 2 years. 3 years ago, I was sitting on a prison bunk. 1 year later, I found it. And 2 years in, we have housed over 46 men and women.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on, come on. I know we're a little bit late, but there's no such thing as really late when you really got that spirit and fire of God. You know what I'm talking about? We on time because this was the right time to be on, the Empower Hour. So I'm just grateful for all y'all that's just watching us right now. I see y'all in the chat. Come on, get in on this. Get in. Come on, greet one another. Aren't you happy to be here? Because we're gonna make sure you have a phenomenal time over here. Whatever you was going through throughout the week, you'll cast that away, because we're gonna have something real special, real beautiful for you today. And to help me out with that, I got a real good special guest over here. You heard me talk about last time. I heard you all was really happy to see this moment. So without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself for all the people who don't know. Who are you?
Thank you. Jose Lorenzo here with Justice for Housing. I am a peer leader, case manager, and housing navigator over there. I am also formerly incarcerated. I served a 9-year prison sentence, and a father and a son of Roxbury.
Right, I hear you. And I appreciate you being a guest on this program.
Thank you.
Yep. So what started this off with this? What is Justice for Housing for a lot of people who do not know? What is that?
Right. So Justice for Housing is a nonprofit grassroots organization founded by Leslie Credo. And Leslie Credo is also formerly incarcerated. She came up with the idea when she was re-entering society. She had the opportunity to parole to her home because she was a homeowner, but her constituents, everybody beside her that she grew to love and bond with, could not have the same luxuries because they weren't homeowners. They weren't related to homeowners.
Right.
We all come from similar backgrounds when we find ourselves in these penal systems. So she was fortunate, and through her fortune, she saw, an unfair system that wasn't really helping with re-entering into society.
Right.
So, it was something that, everybody, it's a human need. Homelessness is at an all-time high.
That's right.
We know what market rent is out here. And so when we're talking about allowing people to, start fresh, start from the beginning over again, something that's very crucial is stability and housing. So she saw that and she founded Justice for Housing to be able to, first we tackled policy to change certain policies that housing authorities had over returning citizens. And what we saw was a lot of families couldn't take their loved ones back home because of these policies, so we had to tackle that first. And then after that came the vouchers.
Right.
And also we help advocate for individuals who are facing any kind of evictions or discriminations in the housing courts or against landlords. So hope that explained everything.
Yeah, no, you really did. You just gave a mouthful right there. That's really phenomenal right there. That's real good. So, real quick, hit the like button, everyone. Hit this like button. When you tap in and you're watching it, even if you came a little bit late, just hit the like button, because the more likes me, the more recommendations. Now, let me tell you something. What we do over here in Empower Hour, we got something called Genesis 1:1, which means in the beginning. But we're talking about your beginning.
Right.
So since we're talking about justice for housing, I know you got a testimony to give us. So what was your journey from where you was at to where you are now? How did that go through?
Oh, absolutely. What a great title, by the way, to to open that up with. So, I mean, I think my story is one of many. Like I said, I'm a son of Roxbury. That's where I was born and raised. Throughout my youth, I lived in other states, but this is where I primarily call my home. And I have been incarcerated throughout my entire life, since my youth, since my first incarceration.
Right,
wow. I think I was in 6th grade. I was on probation ever since. And that kept it just easy for any infraction to put me back in there and keep that going. And because it was a constant battle of pleading guilty, not pleading guilty, those probation sentences always came with it. And so it was like a guarantee, we'll get you back again. And so, you know, of course, just growing up in the penal system, on my last stint, when I had just did a year and a half, I came home. I was only home for about 8 months. And in that time period, you know, one of the main things that I finally noticed was such an obstacle for me was having somewhere to call my own, peace of mind. I was always staying with somebody. I was always in a situation where I had to provide, had to show and prove, had to bring something home. So I couldn't, if I didn't have nothing to bring home, I'd stay out.
Right.
You know? And that's where the trouble is. It's outside.
That's right. It's always the opening.
You know? And so, yeah, I was home for about 8 months, and I ended up back inside, facing 20 to life. I was sentenced to 9 to 10. Found guilty, and although, you know, the journey was rough, I was built, you know, by now I was kind of built for it, so it was like, you know, I was used to it. But there's a point where punishment goes 360 and you're overly punished, so I found myself finally working on myself this time around.
That's good.
And, you know, I just reached out to every organization I could upon my release with my own set of planning, knowing that housing was the main objective. And so, and on top of that, I had children. You know, I went in my last time to do my 9-year sentence, and I had a child who ended up in the foster system while I was incarcerated. So there was a goal outside of myself to be housed when I was released, bigger than myself. So it gave me purpose to be able to think other than being selfish, you know, not caring or concerning what happens to me. I had somebody else to worry about. And now today I have 3, so, you know, it keeps the motivation going.
Yeah, that's the blessing right there.
So, I mean, I wouldn't say that incarceration is my entire story. I just know that's what got me on this platform.
Right.
And, you know, there's all the in-betweens. We can talk about, you know, poverty and, you know, everything else. That's why I said my story is the one of many people.
Exactly, yeah.
But just the sense of coming back and having a different insight and being able to kind of direct my purpose in life, it was because, you know, such a long stint, I was overly punished. By this point, there's a point where you pass rehabilitation, and now you're just sitting. So what do you do with that once you reach the point of rehabilitation and you're not released? It goes away, it diminishes after a while if you don't, you know,
right,
get to utilize this newfound rehabilitation. So it was, you know, I had to just stay focused because I know that a lot of times we're released and we forget everything we promised ourselves and our loved ones. And it's a thing called threshold amnesia. If you heard it from me first, remember I said it first. Once we step through that threshold, we forget everything we set out to do.
Yeah.
It's not just for, just think about when, let's say your loved one says, can you go to the store for me? and they give you a little list. Just tell it to you, and you say it to yourself a couple of times so you don't forget. But by the second you step through that door, you already done forgot one thing. By the time you step through the car door, you done forgot another. By the time you step in the store, you done forgot 3 things.
3 things, yeah.
You know? And then you don't even remember that you forgot them until you step out the store. So, you know, just knowing that, I had to stay focused and stay on track.
Right, you had the mentality for it. You had that sternness about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
The discipline.
And that's true. So, all y'all viewers watching, Hyde Park, those of you that's watching as our guest, don't let me be selfish and ask this gentleman all the questions. If you have a question, write it in the chat, and I'll make sure I'll read it so this brother can answer it. You don't mind a couple questions, right?
Not at all. That's what I'm here for.
Exactly. You know, so we're gonna bless you this afternoon. We're gonna bless you this evening, and we
I'm
definitely
curious.
gonna do that.
I want to know what the people want to know. So
Exactly.
let it loose.
Exactly. So you pretty much you went on it a little bit, because that's the next question I was going to ask you. Most cases where, you know, someone that was incarcerated, right, they step out, they don't have anything to go, you know, they don't know any of their relatives. So my question is, how does Justice for Housing help those who are just left incarceration? What is it that Justice for Housing offers that people who are, you know, just left the incarceration, how do they get their life back settled?
So when I initially was released, Justice for Housing wasn't really even off the ground yet. Mm-hmm. So I stumbled onto Justice for Housing. I got lucky. I went into a community platform, like an on-call community platform, where there were several organizations and there was people in the community airing their grievances, looking for assistance. And Leslie Credo happened to be on the line, you know, and she said, "Hey, Jose, connect with me. I think I got something in the works for you." And we just took off from there. So now that it's established and we're now on our second cohort housing people, our next cohort will be coming up in the fall. But as of right now, you know, you could just go to the website and see what kind of resources and things that we can do. But it's like I broke down. We help with, you have individuals who might have somewhere to stay, but they're not being allowed to stay there because of their core of their background. They can't stay with their loved one because they're not allowing them to be added to the list. There's certain things that can get around that. We have people that are you know, kind of educated in that sense and are connected to lawyers, and we advocate. We go in there and we kind of we show the human being to these people, to these housing authorities, to these courts. We make a social bio, and we basically show the human being, like, look. And then we have a peer leader. What I described earlier, what I am, is you show the success rate of some of our constituents. I'm from cohort 1. So now if cohort 1 has 20 people, that's 20 people that can now show this is what happened when you house somebody with a CORI, somebody with a background. This is a perfect tenant so far. They've been housed, no infractions, no nothing. In fact, neighbors love them. We have all these things. We can collect all kinds of letters of support, and that's how we go to back. And what we find out most of the times is the housing authorities are never prepared for that. People don't even know that they can advocate for themselves in that manner. And so once they hear that we're coming, they immediately say, you know what, it's not a problem. You know, because they're not used to being challenged in that way. And once again, you have the voucher program, which if you have a formerly incarcerated background, we know that there isn't vouchers catered to you in the state. In fact, everything is almost a barrier around housing for you. So now it's the direct stop to get one specifically for you, not for anyone who doesn't have that kind of background, because there's so many resources for people with every other background but incarcerated. And so when we're telling people that they're returning citizens, they have to be treated as such. They have to, you know, have the same dignities and liberties that are on to all citizens. So we give that opportunity. We skip that barrier if you find yourself on that list.
Right.
I hope that answered your question.
No, you answered it perfectly. You answered it perfectly. And actually, not only did you just answer it perfectly, but you just blessed someone in the chat. Someone just said, "God ways is not our ways. Look at how God is using you. Your journey is remarkable and it's real." You know. So how you feel about that? That what you gone through, that journey, I know it was troubling.
Oh yeah, I mean, I truly believe. So I maintain my innocence through that whole thing. I don't want to get into all that because that's not what this is about. But
Right.
I maintain my innocence throughout the whole thing, and the Innocence Project picked it up, and it's looking like everything will be in the right side of the light. But knowing that I was in there wrongfully accused, and I sat in there, I knew that it was for a reason because all my peers were passing away, and that could have been me. You know, I truly believe that I lived such a lifestyle that I needed to sit down for a long period of time in order to reflect. I've done time before. It didn't change anything. It didn't change my immediate reaction to things. It didn't change my impulsiveness to deal with things. And now there's a different level of patience.
Right.
There's a different level of second thinking. There's a different level of understanding the long-term effects, and it's due to being sat down like that. And I think that that's all through the Most High's hands, you know.
Yeah, I hear that, and that's remarkable right there. So, what other projects is Justice for Housing about to initiate?
Oh, there's a lot in the works. I don't know how much I can say.
How about give us the next one where you need the good turnout, where you need that turnout?
Oh yeah, I mean we're always like I said, we were just at the State House,
Right.
meeting with local representatives, pushing a bill to, first of all, there's a few bills going on right now. we were pushing a bill for voters' rights and inside the prison system. Mm-hmm. We were pushing a bill on juvenile records being sealed the other day, and we were pushing for housing stabilization because we are a community forgotten and disregarded, and we're not on that section when they're asking you what are your disparities when looking for assistance. And so we want that on there because when you're starting from scratch, that truly is not a disability, but it's definitely a hindrance, right? So we want that to be acknowledged as such. So that's some of the things that we're pushing right now. We also are in the works of another building where we're going to be educating people on who are returning on computer literacy. We already kind of help you with services. So part of the program is you have to do financial literacy.
Oh, okay.
And you have to do a health wellness program, because a lot of times when we're released, our health is in the worst conditions. We don't check up on it. We're kind of scared to go to the doctors. And a lot of times we've never paid a bill in our life. Some of us have been in there since we were children, never paid a rent in our life and don't know how to, don't know how to pay taxes, don't know how to do so many of the simplest things that people take for granted out here. Right. That they know we need to be educated on it.
So they give you the training on that.
Yeah, to just house you is just one step. If you don't know what to do after that, we're not doing you a service. So we provide financial literacy through RCC or Urban Edge, and health wellness through Whittier Street. And then, so our plan is after that, you will get into a first home buyers class. After you get in a first home buyers class, you get a down payment on a house. And then your voucher pays for a percentage of your mortgage. So we're not just leaving you in an apartment, we're pushing you towards home ownership. So that's, the next level is my cohort is about to be the first homeowners.
Exactly.
You see?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because someone had just mentioned that about that part of it.
Oh, somebody mentioned it?
Yeah, someone just mentioned that.
Okay. Great. So what did they say? How should I address it?
Are there any leads pertaining to rent being implemented, rent control?
Rent control is a whole nother battle. I can't even speak to that. What we're trying to do is just get people in the door.
Right.
You know, however we can, and empower them enough to where rent isn't what the priority is, the mortgage is that leads towards ownership.
Mm-hmm.
So there ain't no rent no more. We're thinking about the next step, which is another home to make, you know, a two-family, so that now we're creating a community of homeowners who are formerly incarcerated, who won't discriminate or not give somebody the chance because of their background. We all have the similar backgrounds, and so
That's
we're trying
right.
to create a community of formerly incarcerated homeowners that would give the opportunity to other formerly, won't even second guess, you know? So, I mean, that's the best that we can do, is create new homeowners with new mindsets, new, you know, people that aren't thinking about just how to get ahead, but more about humanitarian wise.
Oh, we got another one. Oh man, they're coming with the questions. Someone just asked, are there ways we can help volunteer?
Oh, absolutely.
Are you guys accepting volunteers?
Oh, absolutely. Just go to justice4housing.org, and there should be a link there on volunteer. And also, whenever you see us post anything on like the social media websites like Facebook, we're always posting when we're going to be at the State House. Whenever we always need people there to rally, or not necessarily rally, but just show support in numbers, showing that there's a need out here, and that you know, we all want to see brothers and sisters come home with the same equal opportunities.
Yeah, I hear that. You guys could post that up on the screen, the link to all of the ways to help support Justice for Housing. So yeah, that was another thing I was going to say. You just said it right there. What's the YouTube page?
Oh, I don't know the YouTube page.
Oh man,
Anything Justice.
it's on the photo. Trust me,
Okay,
it's on
yeah.
there.
Yeah, so if it's on there, it's on there.
It's
But
on there.
I don't know off the top of my head, but anything Justice, the number 4 Housing,
Right.
Or even J4H, it should come up in any type of search.
Truth be told, if you just put Justice for Housing, everything gonna pop up.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah.
will pop up.
Yeah, honestly, even if you put up Boston Housing Authority on YouTube, you'll see something about Justice for Housing up there. So,
Yeah, I hear that.
yeah, we're active.
Yep. Well, it was a pleasure having you, Brother Jose.
Thank
It was a pleasure. Oh, one more thing. I just wanted you to have this little reminder. You're no longer a stranger at Hyde Park. If ever you want to come in and tap in with us, you know, you can always do the free will to do that.
My pleasure.
You know?
Please, it was an honor and a privilege.
Oh man, it was such a privilege for me to have the opportunity to speak with you. Go ahead.
You know, I just wanted to say there's a few brothers behind the wall that I just wanted to, you know, let everybody know. I wanted to see them come home, and that would be Jeff Moultrie and Craig Holiday.
Yes.
Free them, and also Fu Quan. So any initiatives around those brothers to get them home, we'll be pushing that as well. At least
Yes.
I will. So be on the lookout for that as well. Yeah, I just wanted to put that last in there.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Now, hold on one moment. I know that you guys are just so blessed to hear that testimony. So you guys have to make sure you promise me that you go to that link and you subscribe to the channel so you can see everything they got going on. You know, if you want to volunteer, they're going to have some information over there so you can go over there. Now, this ends the Empower Hour program, but like I always say, you know, for those of you who also got a story, don't be shy. Jose, one thing I gotta say about my Seventh-day Adventist people, you know, I love them. You know, I love the gentlemen, I love the women, especially the women. But one thing that I'm a little bit feel bad about is my people are so shy. My people are so timid. They're afraid to express their stories, how they got to their journey. So having people like you and Brother Cadet who came before, these are people that are going to be able to give y'all the inspiration to be able to do this, because every single one of us have a story. We don't know who could be blessed by it. So I'm letting that information out to all of you that's watching. If you have a certain field, if you're in a certain field and you want to be a blessing to the community, you want to be a blessing to those that's watching, you know, from now to July 1st, tap in with me. I'm going to be here physically so we could get on that. I already got a brother talking about the CDL initiative. You heard about that. That's booming these days.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we definitely going to do that. Once again, Jose Lorenzo, thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Blessings.
Blessing.